Hey folks, Colin here. Sorry I'm a little bit late. I was just chatting to someone about a dog fence. Today we're going to talk about a subject that was raised last week regarding our bark collars and how they work. There was one particular question that we got which was, can my dog still bark when it needs to? Specifically, the question was regarding guard dogs. If a guard dog is wearing a bark collar because they're barking at the wrong times, then people are quite often worried that they're not going to bark when they need to. So there's another couple of things that go into that. If you've got a normal dog and they're barking, you're getting complaints, obviously you've got to take that fairly seriously before it goes to the shire, but you still want your dog to bark when it needs to. So we have done up a graph, and I'll go through that now, but basically it comes down to the quality of the bark collar that you're going to get and the temperament and the adrenaline level and the instinct of the dog that is doing the barking. So it's about making sure that you get a collar that is going to go off appropriately to give the dog the correct messages, and that comes down to safety and quality as well. And yes, is there a direct correlation between the price of a bark collar, its features, its safety, and its quality? Absolutely. So give us a call if you need to, and have a chat to us about a bark collar. So let's have a look at the chart, and I'll actually show you some demonstrations on a bark collar. So let's have a look at our chart again. You can see a better version of this. We'll pick a few colours. Now, if your dog's temperament level this is the dog's temperament level, and this is a timeline. Now, if we have a dog here, if you want a particular colour, let me know. If we have a dog's temperament level that's here, and he's barking at that temperament level and producing barks, which is causing a problem. So this amount of barking here is the problem level of barking, because the dog's barking at normal neighbourhood activity, which he's just wandering around the house and he might have a little bit of separation anxiety. But that's another story, because that's a really wide grey area of discussion. We'll talk about that with bark collars. We even have an article on that. If the dog is barking at this level, then that's unacceptable if it's too much. Now, what is too much barking? Too much barking is complaints from the neighbours or from the shire ranger knocking on your door. That's what you would call too much barking. So it all depends on the person hearing the barking. If they think it's unacceptable, then you could have a problem, and it's a good idea to take action so that at least people can see that you're doing the right thing. Now, if your dog's barking and you have a correction collar that is coming in with a correction along this area here, the dog will stop barking quite appropriately at those sort of things that have been triggering the barking in the past. But if your dog gets someone jumping over the fence and his adrenaline level takes a sharp and very quick, this is your timeline here, this is over time, and if the dog is sharp adrenaline level up to this level because someone's jumping the fence, and his comfort zone and his adrenaline level stays at this level, then what's going to happen? He's going to continue barking. Now, if you then have a collar that will increase very gradually and go, right, well, the dog's been given their initial warning level, then the collar is going to increase very gradually over time, and pretty soon, as it goes up, it's going to get somewhere close to your dog's adrenaline level and instinct spike. So he's done his barking, he's told people there's a dog on the property, and also warned you. You'll notice a difference in the bark between this sort of bark and this bark. If his adrenaline level starts to come down and it hits the level of the collar, then you'll get a complete stop in the barking. So your dog, we've solved the problem in two ways. We've stopped the dog barking at the things he's not meant to, and we've stopped the dog barking for too long. Because if this line here is too long and it's happening on too many occasions, that's when you start to hit levels of unacceptable and nuisance dog barking levels. It comes down to what time of the day is it, how many occasions is the dog doing a barking session, and how long does the barking session last. And there are some shires and states that have actually stipulated that if it's between certain hours of the night and there's this much barking within an hour on this many occasions, then that gives them the ammunition they need to take legal action and charge people with noise abatement, etc., issue noise abatement notices. So that's what you're looking for, a bark collar that will actually give the dog the right type of message at this level, but allow the dog to increase the levels. Now, I'll show you how that looks visually. This is the bark collar that we rent out. I've got 2 more here. Very good one from Dog Watch. That one gives you 7 levels of correction to choose from, and it also has a vibration level as well that you can do, and a progressive level at the end, P for progressive. And so you can set it to a particular level, so you can choose with this one what level would you like the bark collar to come in at. What's the pen? The green pen. What level would you like the bark collar to come in at? This level, or this level, or this level? And over time you'll find that you can reduce the level, and then you can also put that one on progressive so it increases by itself. Very safe collar as well, probably a safety rating of a spot on 10 out of 10. Doesn't go off if it gets knocked around, so that's good. The next one we'll look at is our BP504 by our friends at Educator. Now this particular one, whilst the Dog Watch gives you a bark indicator, it will, when you turn it off, it'll flash once and tell you how many times that the dog has barked within, say, 5 activations from the collar. If it flashes twice, there's 10 activations. This one, when you turn it on, it actually gives you a solid bark count. So you can actually see how many times the dog has activated the collar. Not how many barks. It's not going to pick up the exact number of barks. It's going to count how many activations and let you know. So in theory, with both of these collars, if you come home and you're getting an indicator that the dog has barked too much, you can alter the levels of the collar to deter the barking. Now, this particular one as well will have levels you can select. It also has a progressive level at the top end as well, so you can select the level. You can turn it down to tone only, and at the top level it is progressive. So you can select the level on this one. If you push the button again, it then goes into, I think someone's in the shop playing with squeaky toys. Oh, by the way, we have Christmas coming up, and we do have dog Christmas hampers. If you'd like to log on and click on the link that we'll put in later, you can look at the dog Christmas hampers. So this particular one, when you turn it once, it'll give you a bark count. If you go again, it'll do the levels. So which level do you want to set the collar to? And then if you go again, it will go to, do you want medium, high, or low sensitivity? So if you've got a dog with a big bark, you can set it to low sensitivity so it won't pick up so much vibration and activate. And then if you go again, you can turn the Pavlovian tone on or off. Now, I like Pavlovian tones with dog bark collars. This one we're about to show you, which is the one that we rent out as well, that one has a Pavlovian tone. So Pavlov's dog, the dog gets a correction for barking. He hears the noise at the same time and he remembers the noise. Over time, he'll remember the noise, and if he's getting corrected at this level, he's more likely just to be paying attention to the little beeper than he is from the static pulse. So these collars, once you get to these levels, are not as scary as one might think. And it's instantaneous, short, sharp little correction at exactly the right time to help retrain the dog. But we put a little training guide in the kit so you can have a look at the training, and you can read how to approach the training correctly, but we'll get into that subject in a tick. Now, getting back to this one, here you can change the levels of the collar, you can set the sensitivity of the vibration detector, you can turn the Pavlovian tone on or off, and you also have a test mode on there as well. Now, this one here, the one that we rent out, you can hire this for a while and see that it's the right one and then convert to purchase, and we use the rental fee and the deposit to train the dog. I use this particular model on my dog, and I'll explain in the training section how we actually use the training. If I rub this vibration over the top of this thing, this little kid doesn't realise that it's 20 cents a squeak, so we're making money right now, because every time a little kid rings those squeakers, we charge them 20 cents. We'll give them the bill later, shall we? All right, so this is a vibration here, and this is the vibration detectors, and so when it goes off, you'll see the light comes on at a low level and gives the dog a little correction, and the light flashes here. Then it'll go up a level and it'll wait at the next level for 30 seconds. If the collar's activated within 30 seconds, there's a level 1 correction, so it's a little bit higher. Now, the more the dog barks, the higher the level's going to go. So getting back to our bark chart, every 30 seconds, this collar will go back down to this level. So this is our barking dog training collar. It'll go down to this level and it'll correct the dog for this sort of barking, and it won't be so intense. That's the dog's normal comfort zone. he'll get the corrections just above or around his comfort zone. So he'll stop barking at the pigeons in the trees, the people walking down the street, just because the neighbour opens his back door or the kids jumping on the trampoline. Pretty soon it's not worth barking at those things, but then if he does get a sharp adrenaline rush, the collar will increase gradually until it meets the dog's adrenaline level. It will increase and it'll start to meet the adrenaline level. When it hits there, it will stop the dog barking for too long. So again, we're correcting the dog at those two levels. You can still bark, but only appropriately. We're reducing the number of occasions the dog barks, and we're also reducing the length of time the dog spends barking in each little session. And I left this on my dog for about 6 weeks, obviously checking the skin, making sure there's no irritation. If you're worried about that, we have an article on that as well. Making sure there's no irritation on the skin. The dog pretty much forgot that they had the collar on. I kept a good eye on the skin to make sure it was all covered. And then after 6 weeks, the dog had pretty much been, my dog Spud had been conditioned that he's not meant to bark at the people on the ringing the doorbell or the pigeons in the trees, but if he needed to, there was something strange in the neighbourhood, he could actually still bark based on this chart here. So if I keep activating this has gone back to the low level, and you'll see that light is just low level, short, sharp, over and done with, and then it increases. Now if the dog keeps barking, it's not going to go off every time. It'll actually give the dog a settling period and then it'll be ready to go off at the next level. If they're quiet for 30 seconds, it'll go back down to the low level. And the beauty of it is we've been able to make this one very sensitive because we've had a rubber coating put on it, so it's not going to go off if it gets knocked on the pavement. So if the dog knocks this collar, I'll put that light so you can see it and we know it's working. If the dog knocks the collar on the pavement, it's not going to activate the collar. So if he barks with the vibration on his vocal cords, the collar will activate. So it's a super safe collar to wear, similar to these two, that won't activate accidentally. And if it gets knocked around, it won't activate, but if the dog barks, it will. Safety is your primary concern when you're talking about a bark collar, and the barking dog training collar really fits the bill. Waterproof and submersible, and I love the rubber coating as well. Last people for years. So good investment, try it to rent it first. Okay, that's it for TDL TV. If you are watching this afterwards, can you do the hashtags TDL Live, TDL TV, and hashtag bark collar? That'd be great. Share this as well, because this people going out buying collars and then they're not getting great results, and it's coming back on the industry that these things don't work or they're bad for dogs. Get the best one, get the good quality one, get good advice, good backup service, and something that's going to last. Teach your dog and follow our training guide and you'll be fine. All right, that's bye from me. Thanks for tuning in, and don't forget to say hi and keep posting your pictures up. Merry Christmas, and we've got dog gift hampers for Christmas if you want to look at them. Thanks, folks. Bye for now.